Welcome, guys. This will be episode 2 of our little log series I'm putting on the Road to Grandmaster. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about the gear that I started with and kind of where I've progressed and what I use now versus what I used before, and just what it did. I mean, the purpose that I upgraded and kind of the things that made me decide to spend a little extra money for that speed advantage. Don't know if quite yet you could call it a speed advantage, but there's definitely a lot more versatility with the division I decided to shoot based off of the gear I used. So before we get too far into this, I want to thank Vault Apparel Company. They're the ones sponsoring today's video. I am wearing a Vault shirt. They were kind enough to make us a Road to Grandmaster, Christensen Tactical Road to Grandmaster. So we appreciate them for doing that. You can see them and then some of the shirts and stuff they do. Small company, but it's vaultapparelco.com. And without further ado, we'll get started. What I'm going to talk about first here is my initial match rig. It's an interesting one. Like I said, when I first started, it was essentially just a regular everyday belt. I threw some mag carriers on it and called it a day. Obviously, I don't have the exact pieces anymore. That's kind of a foregone conclusion at this point, but I have something similar. So this is kind of my first rig I used. It's a really flexible belt, and the mag carriers that I used were these, and that one's upside down, were these more inexpensive jobs that I got on Amazon. They were really simple, really easy, really inexpensive. Obviously, they will fit any double stack magazine and fit in there. From there, I progressed through, I think it was Krydex was the company, Krydex Tactical, and they produce these little magazine pouches, slip onto your belt, and not too bad. The one bad part, if you do go with these, I noticed that they swivel, and once you break them loose, they will move easily. So they irritated me after a while because I kept getting loose. They say there's a big screw in the back and a big Allen wrench on the other side of this plate. They say blue Loctite it, and then you should quit having issues. I passed those down to my son, and he had used those for quite a while. They're nice because with this little screw here, you can get some retention out of it. And obviously, I'm not putting in there right, but they fit the double stack nicely as well. So there's those. After that, and I'm going to show you my son's rig. This is very similar to the rig that I used. When I chose to really dive into it a little bit more, I went with the Ghost. These are more geared, I feel, towards the production class in USPSA because there's not really a lot of adjustment you can do to it. You can adjust the retention with these little clips on the inside. You can take these out and put different ones in to get a more firmer feel, but there's no swivel. You can get a little bit out of it, but then they just get weird. And they sit so close to the body. I mean, if you're like me, I'm not the best shape in the world, and I got love handles, and they rub and actually leave a bruise by the end of the day. So my son actually uses these now. He is in the Carry Optics division, and this was the holster we used. It's a Black Scorpion Gear carbon fiber holster for Legion X5. So these ones are nice. I really liked them, except for the fact that there was not a lot of adjustability to it. They work really well with how the retention and everything worked. So he uses those now, and he seems to like them a lot. After that, I decided to jump more into, and I use those, I'm going to say I use those for, about 9-10 months. And then I decided to move over to Double Alpha Academy. Now with Double Alpha Academy, this is their specialty. This is the world that they play in. This is the world they sponsor in. And I jumped into the Alpha XIs, XIPs, excuse me, for the polymer variant. With the division I shoot in, at first I had the magnet, so you could have magazines stick to that, but now every division you can have magnets in USPSA now. Mag carriers are super nice. I love these a lot because I can adjust how far they cant away from the belt. I can adjust back and forth, so on and so forth, up and down. I could attach magnets to this whole front if I chose to. Those are what I'm at now. They are a little on the pricier side, but for the adjustability in the division that I shoot in, and I shoot limited, they definitely are a huge plus. You adjust your retention on them right here. And the pull out of them, they're just so smooth. But they are a little on the pricier side. I did move over to the Racemaster holster. This is an aluminum holster. The nice part with these is if you change firearms, you can actually go and change this insert block out. They're not horribly expensive. I think they're like 40 bucks, and you can change those out for whichever firearm you're using. Right now I have mine set up for the Tanfoglio, but I also have it for the X5 in the event that I decide I want to get ornery and try and shoot it again. One part that kind of drives me crazy about this holster is when I draw, it has a tendency to pull. No matter how I wrench it down around my waist, when I pull, it'll drag this up, and then I get this weird pull. I don't know if it's just I need to do a little bit more finish work on these, because I'll tell you that they need to be fine-tuned because every firearm's different. So that's kind of a weird thing with it that I'm working on just to get fine-tuned, but that's where I'm at now. And like I said, I mean, I went all in with Double Alpha Academy. That's upside down. I went in all in with them because their products they're really good. If you're going to play with the big boys, I guess you should dress like the big boys. One of the biggest things that I found was, developing your grip. A lot of your firearms, your Glocks, your SIGs, guns like that, they already have texturing built into the grip. They're stippling, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not one to go out and get custom stippling done. I mean, when I'm done using, my weapon of choice and I move on to something else, I still want it to be user-friendly. I'm not, if when I'm done using them, I go out and stand and shoot them. I don't need them to be super crazy and be so full of texture and grip that I can't use them. So one of the nice parts that I found, and it's a company that I work really well with, is a company called Handle It. These guys are awesome. Couldn't be happier with the way these grips are. These things are like, I can't tell you the grit of sandpaper. But if you're not somebody that works with your hands every day, you go out and you start cracking rounds off with these on there, you're going to know it in your hand. It's going to be a little bit sore, and rightfully so, because it helps you refine your grip. If you're not grabbing right and that gun's moving around a lot in your hand, you're going to know it. You're going to know it right here. This is where it started to hurt me, and that taught me a lot that I needed to know about how I held the gun. So Handle It Grips is great. Keith and his guys over there, they're awesome. I've really enjoyed being able to use their stuff, and they've worked with me really well. I appreciate them immensely, and I support their products so much to a point that my son and I, a nice part about me, if you become a supporter of mine, you're also a supporter of my son's, and we put them on our match gear. That's how much we really enjoy their product. I mean, it is very good, very nice, and they do some custom stuff. Reach out to Keith. We actually have here a set of grips for a friend of mine that is shooting for my company that I own. I talked to them about making some grips here for the Glock 34 Gen 5, and they sent the tag on there, Christensen Tactical Edition Glock 34, and they even etched our logo inside of the paper. So you can get them in a multitude of colors. You can get them in a multitude of textures too. They have the elegant grips. They're really pretty, but those things are like glue in your hand. You get the rubberized ones for your carry weapon and for comfortability there. Or you get these really gnarly sandpaper ones, and they're really, really good. They stick, and they stick forever. I'm just going to kind of show you the grip here. This is the one that's on my X5. You can get colored paper to put behind the grip module on there, so it kind of gives you some flair. And they have it on their side too for their logo. It's really good, and you can see some wearing here. That's skin. And my son has been using this particular firearm for carry optics, and he learned you gotta grab it, and for a 10-year-old to be cracking off a 9mm the way he does, it helped him refine his grip really easily. So like I said, if you guys need something or want something to get that better tight on your gun, whether it's hot and you're sweaty, they grab, or whether it's cold, they're kind of brutal when it's cold, when your hands are cold, because they grab, and they grab good, and they're inexpensive. Check them out on their website. They're always having sales, 20% off. So they're always having buy one or buy two get one free promotions going on. Lena Michalak supports them too. Amazing company, but you can get them at www.handleitgrips.com. Great company. Check them out. Like I said, I have these on every firearm that I use. I don't have any on my Tanfoglio at the moment just because it's not a model that they made. But the owners, Keith and his team, they're working on them for me. I had some ideas on something that I would like. That firearm stainless steel, and some of the stages when you're doing a unloaded start with your mags on the table, you saw on the magnet on my rig now is that I'll grab the magazines and I'll slap one against the magnet. I'll feed the other one into the gun, and then I grab the front of the slide and I'll rack it to get it, and then I'll present and go shoot. The slide on that gun, it's super slick. So I'm working with him to get something done on the front, and he's super cool about it. I mean, he's just like, yeah, man, get me some of this information, and I'll start working on it for you. So I love them to death. They're great. So like I said, www.handleitgrips.com. Check them out. They also make grips for your gaming controllers, your Xbox controllers, PlayStation controllers. Some of you hardcore gamers out there, you're sweating playing games. He got the hook up. So moving on a little bit, we'll talk about what I started using for hearing protection. When you're shooting these matches, it's in the rules that you need hearing protection of some sort. The hearing protection I started out with was just walkers over the ear, muffled, just your standard kind of standing and shooting hearing protection. I use those for a little bit. The one part is that my hearing isn't what it used to be. Years of hunting and shooting guns, mainly hunting, I didn't wear a lot of hearing protection, and I pay for it now. So I moved over to these electronic style walkers over the ear, and they're good. They've served me really well. You can amplify them. You guys have seen these. I know everybody's seen these. These are really awesome. One thing that I did find is that after a while during a stage is that I would get distracted by the noise, or I would come up to an array and I would shoot, and I could hear people talking. I would hit that array really quick, and then you could hear people in the background saying, oh man, that was fast. And it kind of threw me off my game a little bit. So I found that I would turn them down just enough to where I could hear the RO give his commands and hear the beep. And then after that, they were really muffled. So really enjoyed those. After a 6-hour day shooting a match, the sweat and just the pressure of them on the side of your head, it got annoying. So my fiance, she decided that one day, she's like, you need these. You need the Walker Silencer R600 in the ear hearing protection. A lot of hunters use these too. These are electronic. You can put them in your ear. They got a multitude of different pods to put on there to fit your ear size. Foam them up, turn them on, put them in, and then just forget about them. The little recharge pack's really nice because they don't last 8 hours like a normal set of over-the-ear ones do. If you can get 4.5, 5 hours out of them, I think it's a good day. But between stages, you can throw them in. Most matches that I go to anyway, club level stuff, we're proficient enough and we're cruising along, and there's not too many people there that we can't get it done in 4 hours. So that's just kind of the gear that I've decided to choose. For, like I said, just the reasons of comfortability. It's hard to go up and shoot for me. Like I said, my mental game isn't where I want it to be, but it's hard for me to get up there and go shoot and have these over my ear and just feel the sweat or the pressure just from them pushing, because I got big ears. I got big old Dumbo ears, and to have them smashed back, the cartilage in the back starts to scream at me at the end of the day. So we went with the in-the-ear ones, and I like them. They do start to make the inside of your ear a little tender, but you got to give some to make some. So in terms of magazines, obviously I try and stick with stock mags. They're going to fit your gun the best, but base pads, you can change. One thing with Tanfoglio is that right now with the pandemic, I think a lot of it is that, a lot of the parts, the Extreme, Tanfoglio Extreme, they're manufactured in Italy, and I don't know what their current situation is in terms of lockdowns or stuff, but it's so hard to get anything from them. But I did find that TaylorFreelance.com has their base plates for Tanfoglio stuff. You can still find for 6 Hours, Glocks, all of those guys, you can find people that manufacture a multitude of different base pads for them. I'm partial to the SIG stock extended mags. The base plates on them, yeah, they're plastic or polymer, but they've taken a beating. Like I said, I've used that gun, and now my son is, and we've used it for months. And the base pads, you can see they're a little scuffed, but they're still in great shape. And they've dropped on rocks, they've dropped on gravel, dry fire practice in the house, they've dropped on concrete, in the garage, and they've taken it. There's a bunch of different companies out there. Like I mentioned, HenningShop.com. You can get stuff from Henning, and for any kind of major firearm. CZ, he has Tanfoglio stuff on his site as well. Glock, Sig, all those guys. He definitely takes care of all the big ones. But the Taylor Freelance ones I put on here, not only were they available, they were quite less expensive than some of the other ones that I was finding. And with this game, I put a lot of money into the firearm, and I put a lot of money into the rig. Base plates, 6 to 1, half dozen of the other on what they do for you, as long as they extend it to where you can fit more rounds in. Because like I say, I shoot limited. I think it's 140 millimeter magazine length. I'm within that, and I can load it up fully. I went from a 17 round mag to a 21 with these base plates on here, and they were inexpensive for what they were. And for something that you're dropping on the ground and you're beating up, that's a good day. I've had these for 4 matches now, and these base plates, some of them have little scuffs and stuff on them. You can see a little bit of imperfections, but they're still almost new. So very happy with that. Anytime you see me, I'm going to be wearing, and I'm a bald guy, by the way, so I'm sorry for the reflection, but I like my notch gear hats. These ones are great. Lightweight. I like to wear my hat low, and I find that, when I'm wearing my Oakley sunglasses, prescription sunglasses, that they push down and it's on the bridge of my nose for discomfort. So I started using notch gear, and I love these hats. The channel fits up in there, so I can keep my hat low, and I can kind of give myself tunnel vision towards my target, towards my array. I don't know if it helps. I don't know if it's a big plus. I don't know if it gives me an edge on the game. It definitely minimizes my distractions. I'm not too concerned over here what's going on this target, or over here and what's going on in that target. But it's a perk for me. I don't know if you're the same way. If you go into it, it's just little tricks of the trade that I found work better for me. And maybe I'm putting too much thought into it. Could very well be the case. But in the form of taking it seriously, I definitely try and minimize distractions. In club level stuff, you can reload your own ammunition. I use the Dillon XL750 to reload my stuff. I really love them. That's been a great press. I pulled it out of the box before they got. I was lucky. I got mine ordered before the year wait time. I think I still waited 2 months for it to get here, but it came with everything. It came, your powder measure, your brass feeder, your case feeder, everything. It was set up for 9mm. All I had to do was just put it together, tune it, get it set up to what kind of grains I wanted to go with, and I went with it. So in terms of powder, I've been using the Hosden Tight Group. It's not the cleanest powder in the world. My gun is dirty, and I mean dirty, come the end of the match. Halfway through the day, I'll rub my finger along the frame down there, and I'll pull it back, and I'll have black soot on my finger. Whatever. Really good price. Right now, you can actually get the, you can see it hiding over here in the corner. You can get them directly from Hodgdon on their website. A little bit more than what normal retail is, I think, but you pay your hazmat shipping and they got it. So if people are out there looking for powder, for my competition loads, I use 3.2 grains Tight Group on my rounds. And then the bullets I use is a huge supporter of mine. I love these guys. Small company. They're not big. They're not your black bullet. They're not your blue bullets. I like to shoot the molly-coated rounds, as you can see there. And these are from Big Iron Bullets. These guys are based out of Wellington, Colorado. Great company. Owner's name is Jerry. He's a great dude. He does this all the time. I mean, he carries a full-time job, and then he manufactures projectiles. I do 147 grain in my rounds, flat nose. I want that good smack, especially with shooting gamer rounds, because you're not slinging the power factor that some of your 115s are going. So you want that big heavy bullet to be able to smack it good and get it to knock steel over. Check these guys out. www.bigironbullets.com is Jerry's information. You can also email him at bigironbullets@hotmail.com, or you can call Jerry at 970-222-3372. And he does them by order most cases. I don't know if he carries a lot on hand, but he gets them out quick, and he will ship, and he'll work out shipping with you. Great rounds. I've loved them. I shot black bullets. The coating on those ones were really thick, and they were really chunky. I mean, it seemed like they were thicker in one side of the round, on one side of the projectile, and thinner on the other. They say it's because they just want them to be coated and they want them to be good. And I had mixed results with them. I moved over to Big Iron bullets, and they're coated and they're smooth and they're uniform, and I've had great success with them. I can stand and shoot at 20 yards, and I can have a grouping the size of a quarter religiously. Not bench rested, standing and shooting. So think about them next time you're going after those. Primers, right now I use what I can get. Whatever's available to me and I come across, Federal, CCI, or kind of what I see hit the shelves when they do. So that's where we're at with that. So I don't think there's anything else really in terms of gear that I use. I do use Boomba shoes. They're trail hikers or they're trail runners, just for the traction on the dirt. Really inexpensive. Like right now they have a clearance sale on a lot of their off-road runners, and I think they're like $30 a pair, $39 a pair. A lot of guys use Solomon's, but they're $130 shoes. I'm not that into it. Like I said, I'm still on a budget playing in this game, and when I can upgrade, I do. But the Boomba shoes have been really, really good. It's funny, I had a friend of mine come to my office, and he saw the box of them sitting there the day they came in, and he's like, "Oh, you're playing softball?" And I said, "No, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, Boomba shoes." And I said, "No," I said, I use them for competitive pistol matches. So I had a problem with wooling down 100 or 240 pounds, and those definitely, just the extra traction to be able to take off and stop. I did find out the hard way a couple weeks ago at my Weld County match. Is I took off and I shot out of this shooting zone into the next to hit this array, and I popped my knee, and I've been nursing it for about 2 weeks. At one point we thought maybe I tore my ACL, but it's been getting better. So there's a plus side for that. Didn't have to have surgery and be out of the game for who knows how long. I can still go and produce for the people that support me. So like I showed you with Handle It, Big Iron, they're also a supporter of ours. I don't ask for sponsorships. I find something I like, and I appreciate the people. They take care of us. They get us stuff quickly. I know that we could wait months, weeks for stuff, because anything firearms related is hot, especially reloading. The grips, they can take weeks, months to get in some cases, just depending on backlog stuff. And the guys that Handle It and the guys at Big Iron Bullets, they get us our stuff quick. And I show my appreciation by giving them shout outs, doing this kind of stuff. I'm happy to wear them on me. The same way here, Hobby Outdoors. Every single one of my competition firearms I've ever purchased has been from them. And I mentioned Thomas in the prior episodes. He works there, and they've always taken really good care of me. They take really good care of my son when we go out, and he competes with me. So I always like to give them a shout out. And then especially without this sponsor, in today's episode, Vault Apparel. I'll let the cat out of the bag. I own Vault Apparel. It's my little apparel company. We just started it back in April. We're growing our brand. Our designs are simple, but as we can afford to keep going and growing, we'll offer more intricate designs and things like that. So if you guys like the video, you're finding some of this information interesting, or you just like to watch this guy that can't look at the lens piece and make eye contact with you, hit the website, www.vaultapparelco.com. You can get a Road to Grandmaster shirt, Christensen Tactical, with the silver flag and orange lettering. You get a cool flag on the shoulder. Hit us up, www.vaultapparelco.com, and we'll see you next time.